Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome again to the Tingling Tea. Here at the Tingling Tea, we talk about the strange and the supernatural, the weird and the wonderful, the creepy and the cryptid, and all that is phenomenally freaky. Tonight with me tonight, always one of my guest hosts, my best friend for 30-something years, and I'm not telling his age because he's younger than I am. One of the smartest men that I know, one of the greatest and funniest guys that I ever hang out with, totally all that and a bag of chips, great style, Mr. Augie Eddie Ominous Peterson.
I have great style. I'm
Yes,
so
you
excited.
do.
No one has
Yes,
ever said that about me before.
You do have great style. You have a great eye for everything.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. So welcome. You're so welcome. And if I were with you, I would clink my tea glass with you.
Oh, yes. It's tingling. It's tingling tonight.
And as you all noticed, I did not introduce Annabelle first. Normally, I introduce Annabelle first.
I'm used to be second.
Yes. Yeah, you're number two.
I am number two.
Annabelle cannot be here with us this evening. She is moving, and so we're so excited for her. We can't wait to see. Yeah, pictures.
We need pictures.
We can't wait to see the new place. But we'll see that hopefully next week. But I do have somebody here with us this evening who is has become a very close friend of mine, I would say. I do another show with him on Sunday nights called This Week in Pop Culture with Evolution Comics. And you all remember Hash, who used to drive the Tingling Tea. He also has this show called This Week in Pop Culture, which I would highly recommend you all check it out at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on Sunday night. But this guy is hilarious. He has his own show called Last Stop on the L. And I think that's the L train. I'm hoping. I'll have to ask him about that. He is also very well-versed in pop culture and just about knowledgeable as they come about all kinds of things. Plus, he makes really great commentary. Without further ado, you all, I would like to introduce my friend, Mr. Mike Mayhem Alexandre. How are you?
Ooh.
You're Mayhem.
Look at that.
What? Composition.
Thank you for being with us tonight.
Thank you for having me.
This is the bomb digging. We don't have to come. You have come on here every once in a while, hang out with us and everything.
Please, I'd love to be here.
We love having you this evening.
It looks like you're in a very professional office with like a whiteboard in the back. Do you often whiteboard, or is that just for show?
Actually, I do. So over the past summer, I got into working out and teaching people how to work out and be healthy. And I got the whiteboard to help me plan out my days. So then it went from working out to doing shows. And then it went to training and doing all these other things. And I was like, I need a break. So I took a break and probably the next time I'm on the show, you'll probably see it filled out. So I got to work on that. So I don't want you to see clients' information.
My name is going to be on there because I actually am asking him to help me out with my workout regimen and everything. Although, yeah, he did help me. He was going to help me with my meal planning and all that other kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. But I could lose a lot, little 30, 40 pounds and stuff.
It's only five pounds.
Oh, that's so nice. That's going to be the hardest 5 pounds to lose ever. Anyway, I have to tell you all, that's interesting that you would say that. My brother sent me a box today of some belongings from my parents' home. We sold our parents' home. Yep. And he put in the box some things that I have not seen in ages. And inside the box was my NFL cheerleading jacket.
Wow.
Oh, my God.
What?
That's so cool.
What? Are you going to put it on?
Look, I could put one arm in that bad boy.
I think you need to do a cheer for us. I think you need to do a cheer for us.
You need to do a cheer, and that needs to be the intro.
Outro.
Not on this show, but I promise you all a cheerleading intro and everything, and I'll show you all the jacket.
That's going to be your workout routine, your cheerleading.
My cheerleading, yeah. If I can remember those routines, listen, we used to hold pom-poms that I know had to weigh at least 8 pounds each. Ooh. So they were huge. They were huge. And imagine that also dancing in high heels. It was It wasn't no joke. That was probably
It's
the most physically fit I've ever been in my life, being an NFL cheerleader.
being a cheerleader is actually a sport. I mean, cheerleaders really work out a lot. They're like gymnasts. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think my first 2 years on the squad, we were kind of just did like a little fluffy types of dances, very cutesy, very sexy. You know, it was the 80s, the early 80s. So, you know, big hair, cute, you know. It was just, it was really weird. It was when football was really football.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying, because football ain't football no more. I can't.
That's a whole other show.
It was exciting. It was exciting then. But anyway, my last 2 years on the squad, so I was on the squad for 4 years. And incidentally, I had to audition every year. My spot was not guaranteed.
Oh.
I would have to audition every year. So our last 4 years on the squad, my last 2 years on the squad, we had a new choreographer. And he was, I mean, a true choreographer. Like, he was no joke.
Okay.
And he would get on you if you did anything wrong. And I can remember him always calling me. He would always call me, Leslie Fry. Why'd you do that step that way? You know, I wasn't a professional dancer. I was just a good mimicker. That's all I did. You know, I wasn't like a real professional dancer. I had only had some training, but at that time. But I tell you, oh my God, he would put us through 2 hours of aerobics, you all. 2 hours of aerobic before we had practice. So my body was like slamming, like muscle tone everywhere. And I'm not talking about like built up muscle tone. I'm talking about the type of muscle tone a dancer has.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was grueling back in those days.
No joke. No joke.
No.
So that's our goal. We're going to help you fit into that jacket comfortably wherever you want. And then if you want, you could be toned and be like, this is the new Leslie Fry. And then we get like a great segue into you doing a cheerleading. I would pay money. I would pay you so much money to see you backflip or just cartwheel into a routine.
We did not backflip or cartwheel back in the day. That was, I'm gonna tell you, it was like sexy rocket dancing. That's what it was.
You know what?
Okay.
I'm still paying money. I'm still here for it.
Well, it's time to step it up. It's time to step it up and come to the 21st century, man.
We'll see. But if that's my goal, then that's my goal. Okay. So I wanted to, say to everybody, because this is today, tomorrow actually is Lunar New Year, I believe. So
really? I thought it was today.
Is it It's today or it's tomorrow?
I thought it was today.
Maybe it is today. So happy Chinese New Year, or happy Lunar New Year, everybody. From us. Yes, it's the year of the ox.
Yes.
I don't know, when it comes to Chinese astrology, it's more about what year you were born in. Okay. So if you are born in the year of the ox, happy birthday to you, by the way.
No.
I wasn't born in the year of the ox. I was born in the year of the tiger. So
that would explain your ferocity.
That
would definitely explain.
That is mine. I was born in the year of the tiger. So
I think I was born in the year of the slug. I'm just like,
I don't want to look up my year.
I'm too lazy.
The year of the slug.
The year of the slug. Okay. And of course, this weekend is
Valentine's Day.
Tiger.
Valentine's Day.
Uh-oh. This sounds like there's an issue with Valentine's Day.
Roll the credits.
Day. I hate Valentine's Day, y'all.
That's serious.
Why do you hate it? It's all about love. And let's be a little bit
It's not all about love. It's about pressure. That's what it's about.
Spill the tea, Leslie. Spill the tea.
Listen, I don't have to spill the tea. I'm sure there's several people out there that feel the same way that I feel. Look, let me take a drink.
This tea is great. Please keep going.
That tea is spiked.
Yeah. Listen. I am telling you. Oh, before we even go any further, before I even get into any dirty details, if you are watching this program and you are someone who does not like this type of content when it comes to talking about the scary, the supernatural, paranormal, or any of that stuff, we ask that you either turn us down or turn us off. And if you are watching it, we're asking that you use parental discretion if you have children watching it as well. This is an adult show. It is 8:11 right now. So we just want to let you know this is going to be some adult conversation. All
Eastern
right?
Standard Time.
Right, Eastern Standard
It might
Time.
be some other time in other places.
And
But we're acting like it's this time.
Right.
Everywhere.
If you're in the West Coast and it's 5 o'clock, then don't watch us until 8 o'clock PST.
Watch the rerun.
Yeah, exactly. Watch the rerun afterwards.
So
But
give us
anyway.
time to bleep stuff out.
Agreed.
You know, but hey, whatever. I just don't, it is not my favorite holiday. I think it's a lot of pressure for men as well as for women. I think that it is.
She listed us first.
Yes, men are really put upon to produce and make these fantastic, I would say, overtures and declarations of love during Valentine's Day. It's like a lot of pressure, and then you might have a woman who's really into that. And if you don't muster up, honey, that is it for you for the whole entire year. You might as well just pack your bags and go climb under a rock. Because some women, that's just it. They are like, you didn't produce for Valentine's Day? Oh no. And then when it comes to women, let's talk about produce. Let's talk about that.
Okay.
Let's talk about reproduce.
Let's talk about put out. Let's put that.
Let's do that.
Because a lingerie industry at this time is booming. But hey, sometimes I don't want to be in that lingerie. I'm just saying, I don't want to be in that lingerie.
Sometimes you just want to kick back with the, your regular Wednesday
boy shorts.
My boy shorts, some cute boy shorts,
Listen,
or playing video games. That's my idea of fun.
I haven't worn a Speedo or a male G-string in quite some time. Okay, it's been a while. I've definitely tried it. I was uncomfortable, but I felt like it's because I had extra package going on. You know what I'm saying? I had other things to pack in there. So if you guys feel that way, then let's ixnay it out. And I agree. I think the reason why lingerie is booming is not because of the day, but if you get him to think and look at you a certain way on this day, then throughout the rest of the year and obviously the lifetime, he's going to be more encumbersome to like, shower you with gifts and think of you and become that perfect man you want to be. Let me tell you something about Valentine's Day. And maybe Leslie, you're right. My previous relationship, I actually went to record a show versus spending a day with my actual girlfriend at the time on Valentine's Day. Needless to say, she was not happy.
I imagine the signal was not very accepted.
I tried to land the plane and she was like, no land. You're not
landing here. You got to move on to the next airport.
That's
we're closed.
And I think, maybe that was the reason why we didn't end up together. Listen, there's a lot of pressure on men in general because all the holidays are geared to women. It's your birthday. It's your anniversary, which is your anniversary. We have to make sure we remember that. Then it's obviously Christmas, all about you. Then it's Valentine's Day. We don't get a day for us. We don't. The only day we get is maybe our birthday.
And maybe Father's Day.
Depending. Yes, depending.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That you forget Mother's Day.
Or a daddy with the gays. Yeah. If you're a daddy, then Father's Day is good too.
Oh, okay.
Okay, daddy. Okay, daddy.
All right, daddy.
Listen.
I kind of want that on a shirt, though.
Okay, daddy.
Okay, so this is what I'm saying. It is pressure. There is a lot of pressure. I really feel like, interestingly enough, we're all making all this fuss about Valentine's Day, but does anybody know the sordid history behind the Valentine's Day?
Yeah, there's like a fat white Cupid that hits you with an arrow. Isn't that the situation?
Actually, I defer to the Andre 3000 one where he has a gun and he shoots you and then you fall in love from the Love Below. I found that to be way more effective because when you think about it, like the amount of struggle that you go through to find a last minute gift It is crazy. Or even if you plan beforehand, the amount of stuff that you go through, it is crazy. I need to tell you about my Valentine's gift, but I will do it after the history.
I went to Costco this week, and the entire row before, as you were checking out, was all Valentine's Day.
It's just
insane.
It ain't nothing but a money grab. Trust me.
Whatever ever happened to asking us if we needed batteries? You sure you want some extra batteries with that? I'm buying a gift card, but know
don't get D's because D's will send a certain signal that you might not want.
He's right, though. There's not many appliances that use D's. Unless you put them in a sock and beat somebody over with it, then it's a crime.
Never give your lady D batteries. That's all I'm saying.
D batteries? Okay, don't D batteries. All right.
Wow.
But anyway.
Not on Valentine's Day.
Okay. Oh, no. I guess that is saying a lot.
Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that going over to like your friend's house or family's house and they open up and they get like batteries in their D's and then you're like one of the few people that catch you like, really?
I have a really big TV remote.
You
gotta put the battery in one at a time.
Oh my gosh. Woo. Okay, let's move on because we will never finish the show tonight.
Never get past D on Valentine's Day.
Yes, we will never. So I'm going to talk about this. This is one of our scary mysteries behind Valentine's Day, and I want to give a special shout out to the people at Ripley's Believe It or Not who are providing me with the information for this particular holiday, which is actually very, 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 very creepy. Valentine's Day is a creepy ass holiday. I just want y'all to know. All right, so the thing about Valentine's Day,
it's a bunch of white people.
It always starts with a bunch of crazy, creepy white people.
They're also waving something
creepy
that looks like you could put a D battery in. I'm just saying. The history. Right. You're right. The history.
Okay, so Valentine's Day is actually modeled after a day that happened in it's a Roman feast called Lupercalia. So Lupercalia was around, it was from February the 13th to the 15th. The Romans threw a lavish fertility celebration. What's new? Okay. Now the festivities began with the order of the Roman priests, the Luperci or the Luperci, I guess. It's Lupercalia.
I think it's called the Luperci.
The Luperci gathered in a sacred cave and sacrificed one goat and one dog.
Oh.
Okay, so the goat.
I don't like that part. That's not a good part. I like goats and dogs, so I don't.
It's better than them saying they had sex with the goat. The goat was sacrificed.
Yes, it is.
For fertility.
I think I prefer the killing than the sex.
Yes. And the dog was sacrificed for purification. Okay. Now.
Okay.
It says, unlike locker room towel snaps, women in Rome welcomed their hides being hit because it was believed to make them more fertile. So so basically a slap on the behind made you more fertile.
With the hide of one of those things? Or?
I don't know what the hide was, but I don't know what it was that they was hiding the hide with. I don't know what they were hitting the hide.
So they kill things and then they slap you on the butt.
They slapped. So no, that was part of the ritual, is that you get slapped on the butt because that showed you, I guess, your fertility. You know, women were a little bit more zoptic back in those days. So, you know,
I don't know what that big word. I don't know what that big word means. What does that mean?
Zoptic?
Zoptic, yeah.
Zoptic means they had a little bit more flesh on them, or more meat on their bones. None of this like skinny stuff. Yes.
Got it. Okay.
Yes, they had, even a little poochy stomach and stuff like that, because that made you could bear children.
They had a badonkadonk.
They have badonkadonks and tatatas.
This is a great way for me to ask if a woman is like, what her weight situation is. You're looking a little bit more zoptic than usual. What's going on?
That's right.
No, you don't use it like that.
Once they look it up,
it's more a favorable word. Look, think about the pictures that they used to take of women back in the day. They used to paint of women back in the day. The women had they were a little bit, meaty.
Voluptuous.
Yeah, they were very voluptuous. So that's what zoptic is.
Were.
I like my women zoptic and healthy.
Yeah,
that's right.
Zoptic and healthy. That's true.
I like to grab onto something.
That's right. Okay, let's move on. Anyway, you see these matches these matches of these men, these fertile women running around, throughout the whole year getting their butts smacked, actually ended up in marriage and unions that lasted for a year. They were supposed to last for a year. So they paired these two people together. Like if a man was chasing a woman at the time, they paired them together so that they could create or procreate. And it ended up a lot of them being married as a result of them staying with each other for a whole year.
Okay.
I mean, what could be more romantic than that?
Pretty much anything, I think.
Yeah.
I can think of a lot of things.
It wasn't nothing but a bunch of horny goats. That's
cleaning toilets sounds more romantic than that.
Yeah,
okay.
That's what it was. That's what they did back in the day, So
I'm gonna slap you, and now you're with me for a year.
Yeah,
congratulations.
You have to chase her, slap her on the behind, and then stick with her for
to chase her first. Oh, I would never do that. I would never survive. I would never. I'd be like,
well, you talk about Roman soldiers, and people were a lot more fit back in the day, I guess.
That is also true.
They wouldn't eat McDonald's like we eating today and stuff like that, but they were a little bit more fit.
Hello, sir. I'm from Roman Eats. Did you order the curried goat?
That sounds like the beginning of a really bad movie. That's all I'm going to say. Anyway, so this ritual went on every year, and it was just a fertility ritual, and that's where Valentine started. But the way that it got its name as being Saint Valentine, as what we know as Saint Valentine, actually has a very, very sad tale to it. So the Catholic Church recognized at least 3 different saints named Valentine or Valentinus, and all 3 of them were allegedly martyred or on or around February the 14th.
Okay.
Okay. So the reason being is the emperor believed that single men made better soldiers. And so he did not want any single men to marry because he said that they would fight more if their testosterone was riled up.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And they wouldn't lost no mojo. A lot of people believe that too. There's a lot of people that don't play football games and don't do any type of activity because they believe it takes their mojo away.
The testosterone.
It's true.
Testosterone. So
I don't believe that at all, but
but I mean they believe that.
To each their own.
He made it illegal for young people to get married because he said that if I have a man going into becoming a soldier, I'm not going to have him marry a young girl and all that other kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. So Saint Valentine was not a fan of this edict that was made. So he was secretly marrying Christians during this time.
Good for him.
And as a result of that, he was imprisoned and then he was executed. But he had a 3-part execution. Wait a minute, y'all. He had a 3-part execution. Okay. His 3-part execution was...
Look at all these white people.
First of all, can I just say one thing?
Yeah.
That is a great selfie and filter. Like, this man's skin is glowing.
It is.
You know he didn't have these products back then. What is he using?
Look at his eyes.
Look at his eyebrows.
They're all dreamy.
Listen, everybody looked like this. Everybody looked like this back in the day. Even Jesus. He
looks like Tom Brady after he won the Super Bowl.
Did he have birds flying around him too?
Divine and perfect, and everybody's hanging around him, and he's glowing.
That makes sense.
Anyway, yeah, it does. I guess
all the birds are flying up on him and shit.
But wait a minute. So while he was in prison, though, before he was in prison, he fell in love with the daughter of one of the jailers, and he was still, sanctioned to be executed. And so before he died, which he, like I said, he had a 3-part execution. He was beaten, stoned, and then he was decapitated.
Was he Jesus? Didn't Jesus go through something like that?
I'm telling you, look, this is how he looks, because all the Jesuses look like that too. Wow. So back in the day. So anyway, they say that the reason why before he died, he penned a letter to his lover, and he signed it, the final letter to his beloved, saying, "From your Valentine." So the tradition of us giving these Valentines to one another, saying "From your Valentine," comes from this martyred man.
Wow.
This sounds like Valentine's Day is all about sex and then dying for it.
Yeah, exactly.
So
and that's exactly about it. So that's my point exactly, sex and dying for it. And here's something really funny, you all. I could not find any pictures of this man, but somehow, some way, they had little kid drawings of St. Valentine's. I was like, wonder what the death picture looks like. the decapitation, the beating, and the head. I wonder what that looks like. Look how cute these little drawings are of the St. Valentine's Day.
This looks like a South Park version of St. Valentine's.
Which in that case, we did witness the beating and the decapitation.
Oh,
did they actually show the decapitation for this?
No, I couldn't find the decapitation picture.
That's the best picture.
I know.
That's the money picture.
The money shot.
The money shot picture is not there. But anyway, so
then you hit us with this picture.
Yes, because that's my sentiments about Valentine's Day. Anyway, so
love can kill you.
Yeah, and unfortunately, this is the first time my husband's hearing about how much I don't like Valentine's Day because he doesn't know.
Wow, this picture had too much facial surgery. I think they got pulled too much and they got too much off the nose.
He also has a nice, glowing, luscious beard. I need to I need some tips.
But why does he have a bald spot? What is up with the bald?
Can't have everything in the afterlife, apparently.
They can't give him a full head of hair?
You lose your hair on the top of your head, but you grow a beard.
That is wow.
That's what happens. Yeah. That's what happens when you die.
He's got chains on his hands too. He's enchained.
Yeah, definitely. So keeping up with what we've been doing this whole Black History Month. We decided that we're going to devote this to Black History Month because there's a lot of things that go on during this month. But we are today, and Augie he's going to do some background. So this is going to be a fun segment. This is going to be a really fun segment. We are now today talking about, again, being Black in horror. And we want to specifically talk about the Blaxploitation films of the
Look
70s.
at this
The Blaxploitation horror films that were out back in the day. So I actually did find, I went ahead of myself.
You're giving up all my good slides.
I'm not giving up your good slides. Because that's really not the best part of it. The best part of it is the trailers. That's what's the best part of it.
Ooh, we get for a movie.
Let me tell you, I have spent the last week going through Blaxploitation films, and I loved it. Oh. And all I did was the horror Blaxploitation films, which is a sort of a sub genre. But boy, was it good. And there are more and more movies that we're even going to have a chance to talk about tonight, because this was a genre that just earned so much money and was so popular that they just kept churning things out. And they didn't have a huge budget. So the return on the investment was huge.
Right.
And they were targeting African-American audiences. So they had a very targeted distribution. And the audiences couldn't get enough. So they just loved it so much. So this is so exciting. I love this genre. Now, if you remember, we talked last week, if you joined us last week, we talked about some of the beginnings, some of the horror movies that were firsts. We talked about, horror movies that were horrific, that were part of the slave culture. We talked about the first horror movies that were all Black casts. Now, this week, we're going to talk about Blaxploitation. So now Blaxploitation is really a subset when you talk about Blaxploitation and horror, usually comprised of independently produced low-budget B-movies or grindhouse films, sometimes called. And they typically revolve around sort of lewd, violent, or taboo subject matters. And they're engineered specifically to attract an audience through like sensation and controversy. And normally what we see is a popular genre is then turned on its head and copied, hence the exploitation part, and given this Black cast, given usually they were supported by all or nearly all Black filmmakers and the people working behind the camera. So it was a really amazing time, and it primarily happened during the 70s.
Yes, and
right?
Can I just add? a lot of blaxploitation films made the white man the enemy. There was always some white person,
The man.
exactly, the man. He was the man, which was what everybody said back in the day when they were talking about white folks with the man.
That's right.
So yes,
it was always It was about overcoming oppression, overcoming antagonistic people, generally white authority figures. Right. All of these were referred to, as you're right, as the man. And more often than not, protagonists in blaxploitation films were sort of stereotypical characters. They were characters like pimps and pushers and prostitutes and bounty hunters. But at their core, even though you have this sensationalism going on, it was really a message of Black empowerment that was going on in every movie that you see. And primarily you see empowerment of sort of not just male, but female Black figures, where you've never seen things like this before, or people in the 70s had never seen anything like this before. So it was a really amazing moment. And if you think in history, in the American cinema, and what was going on in the US right after the 60s with the assassination of Martin Luther King and all of the racial movements going on in the 60s, this was a moment where Black people were finding their voice. They were finally pushing themselves out into the forefront, and they were creating their own genre, and they were financially relevant. They couldn't be ignored, right? Mm-hmm. And this was a time when we really saw this. Now, the term blaxploitation was coined by Junius Griffin, who was the head of the LA chapter of the NAACP. And it was, in his terminology, it was a criticism of sort of less than positive imagery of African Americans depicted in film. Mm-hmm. But the way that it was taken and interpreted by the target audience, which was Black people, it was actually something where people were seeing this as an empowerment, as something that they were being lifted up, and they were overcoming the oppression that they've experienced in the past. So also important to note that previous to this, sort of the imagery of Black people in television and film was more as a sidekick or a victim, or they didn't have like women who were like sexually powerful women. It was more like the people that were servants and things like this sort of stereotype. So now you see this change going on within film, where you have these wonderfully sexual and empowered women that you've never seen show up in film previous to this. And that's what makes it so wonderful.
So what are we gonna, which movie, which trailer, and let me know if you want to talk about the film first, or do we want to see the trailer first, and then we talk about or do you want to talk about the? Let's
just do the trailer first, because I think the trailer is so fun and exciting to watch. So let's begin with Blackula, shall we?
All right, let's do this.
I remember this. You
remember it?
Yes.
Vivid, like vaguely, because my dad. Okay, so quick story. So he had two vampire movies. He had Blackula, mm-hmm. and then he had another Blackula, which was a porno.
Was it also from the 70s?
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Of course it was. Okay,
let's watch this right now.
And did your dad have you watch the porno?
Stop.
I'm just curious.
No, he did not. But like every father, he thought he could hide it because their kids wouldn't find it.
Was it under the bed? It's always under the bed.
You know me. I'm home on a Saturday, making my way downtown. Okay, here we go. No, it was in the coat closet with all the bags and stuff.
The coat closet.
Here we go.
Black Prince, I curse you with my name. You shall be Blackula. Blackula.
The Black Avenger, rising from his tomb to fill the night with horror. Blackula, Dracula's soul brother, deadlier even than he.
You know, he is a strange dude.
You're the nut that ran in front of my cab. You're the only imbecile on this street. Boy.
Blackula.
Look at man, you found out he's got to be around here somewhere. I mean, now listen, you take your hands off of me. I don't know you.
He thirsts for your blood. He hungers for your soul. Warm young bodies will feed his hunger. Hot, fresh blood will quench his awful thirst.
Make it a Bloody Mary. Are you, into the occult?
No!
How about the, heavy stuff?
What do you think of vampires?
Vampires? I think they're possibly the most fascinating of all.
More horrifying than Dracula. The Black Avenger. Blackula. From American International Pictures.
That was awesome. So American International Pictures was one of the producers of this genre. You'll find them over and over again, being one of the teams that just create many of these films. So what is your reaction? What is your...
So I'm older than all of you, the two of you. I remember seeing this at a drive-in theater. My parents took me to go see this at a drive-in theater. And I'm looking at the makeup and everything, how the makeup is so bad. But I mean, at the time, you couldn't tell me that wasn't scary.
Right.
I was like, oh, you know, it was groundbreaking to have a Black Dracula. It was groundbreaking.
Yeah.
And this actually, you know, started another series of Blackula movies. I think there might have been 2 or 3 Blackula movies after that. So this was very popular. Everybody was running to the theaters to go see Blackula. It was the first time we had any representation of what we know as a traditional monster in movies in a black face or with a black face.
Absolutely. And Blackula actually went on to be one of the highest grossing films of 1974.
Wow.
So, and it was, you know, when it was made, it was not, people did not think that it would be as popular as it was, but it just struck a chord and it became super popular at that point. I love the lead, or the guy that played, William Marshall is his name, the guy that played Blackula.
Mm-hmm.
He, by the way, was African and Cherokee heritage.
Yes.
I thought you would be interested in that.
Yes, he is. And I totally know who he is. And it's, well, that's another story to tell about him being African and Cherokee. So, you know, a lot of people don't realize that a lot of people that were really big stars back in the 70s had Native American blood or Native American heritage. But yeah, I do know about him being African and Cherokee, Black and Cherokee, actually.
I think,
Oh, you're muted.
yes.
Oops, I'm muted. Sorry, go ahead. Mayhem.
Okay. So it's interesting to watch this film and kind of be brought back to my young days when I actually found that film. I found the old VHS tape and I played it for the first time because certain words stick out to me, like soul brother. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like different things that come on. And years later to come, you know, Black humor took over and it's constantly being used. And I know we're speaking about horror, but like I love horror films. And for them to make a Blackula, I think it was Blackula Scream. And
It was.
Yes,
Right.
yes.
It was
yes.
Scream, Blackula Scream.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe I'm getting ahead of myself and I'll stop. But it was awesome to see this. Granted, you know, the effects were a little dated for me, even at that age, but I love watching it. I was like, oh, snap, there's a Black Dracula. What's going to happen next? And of course, after watching the commercial, I couldn't help but notice, but Dracula was crying. his lovely white tears. I don't understand why.
Well, you have to watch the story about that. We want to shout out to Virgie, who's also with us when we do
Virgie.
This Week in Pop Culture. So thanks for watching tonight, Virgie.
What's up, Virgie?
Virgie.
Okay. So so go ahead. Tell us a little bit more about this man.
All right. Well, just to build on what Mayhem was saying, Scream Factory did release a Blu-ray, which was a double feature of Blackula and Scream, Blackula, Scream, and that came out in 2015. So it is available on Amazon. You can get sort of the double feature, which is I highly recommend. But back to William Marshall. So he was a classically trained actor and singer, right? He sang opera. And before he took this role, he met with the producers and he went over the character to make sure the character had dignity and wasn't just some stereotype. Okay. He wanted this character to actually be meaningful. And so he met with the producers and worked with them for quite a while to make sure that this character was something more than just some monster that people saw and had humanity really in him. So for the thing that I love about Blackula is his voice. I think Blackula's voice is deep and wonderful and resonant and amazing and just stands out.
And you can really tell that he has had some Shakespearean training. You can tell that the way that he's had a lot of gravitas on film.
He's known for his Shakespearean, for the Shakespeare that he plays, this particular actor. Wow. So you're right, Scream, Blackula, Scream came out in 1973. And then and this inspired which is why we begin with it, the wave of black exploitation horror movies. This was really among the first. So kind of interesting is that you heard American International Pictures. They were creating these films. They weren't sure how to market it, so they actually marketed Blackula to ensure that Black audiences would be interested. They marketed it with some posters in the film referencing slavery. They held special promotions showing it at New York theaters, where anyone wearing a flowing cape would receive free admission. So they tried to do as much as they could to cater to their target audience, which I thought was so interesting, and it was so exceptionally, taken after its opening. What I love also about blaxploitation and really all the movies that we're seeing tonight is that there's not a sort of a wink, wink, nod, nod at the audience. The actors actually take this very seriously. Yes. This is not like a campy movie, right? This is a movie where even though it's low budget, even though sometimes we see actors that don't have an incredible amount of experience, everybody was really trying to make a very good film here.
Yeah.
So, all right. So that's Blackula.
All right.
Yeah. All right. So now we'll move on to something which is similar to Blackula, inspired by Blackula, and it came out the next year.
Okay. You want me to show this footage?
Go for it.
First? Okay, let's do this. Okay, mute yourselves, you all. Here we go.
Okay.
Dr. Stein would like to see you in his laboratory.
What brings you to California?
Well, I just arrived from New York. My fiancé was wounded in Vietnam, and the doctors there wrote and told me he was being transferred to the Veterans Hospital here. He was seriously wounded when a landmine went off under him. Eddie, this is Dr. Stein, the doctor I studied with when I was in school.
Now, tell me once again, Eddie, what do you feel?
That was my middle finger.
That's correct.
Dr. Stein, look at this.
I have to watch this movie. I did not watch it. I didn't know it existed, but I have to watch this movie. First of all, I love the authenticity of the style of movie making it was, because like that fade into focus shot, the way that is done right there is so prominent. Oh my gosh! And then the acting is so great. Go ahead, Lizzie. I need to watch this.
What was funny? When he said that was my middle finger. I wanted to die. I wanted to die. And y'all saw that brow when he turned around. He was turning into Frankenstein.
Yes.
Yo, I've never seen this movie. I've never seen this movie.
It is available to buy or rent on YouTube Video right now.
Oh, yes,
Okay.
yes. Got to watch it. So tell us a little bit about this film.
Sure. So, by the way, did that set look familiar? Did that set?
It looked like something from another horror film that I've seen.
Well, it's actually the set that they used in Universal's original Frankenstein
Oh my
movie
gosh.
in 1931. That's the original set.
Wow.
Wow.
Which is amazing considering they had zero money to do this movie.
How did they manage to acquire that set?
Someone knew somebody? I don't know.
Somebody had to have known somebody.
But
wow.
That's
Kudos
pretty
to them.
cool. I would have been in awe. Like if I was on that set, I would have been complete awe.
Oh my gosh. That's amazing.
Totally. Something to note, the actor that played Eddie, which was the lead, the Blackenstein character, this is his only movie, and he got the part because he was like friends with the producers.
You get your start somewhere, right?
He was 6'5", and I guess he had the physicality, so they hired him, which I thought was really interesting.
Oh wow, that's great.
This movie is sorry, please
go ahead.
This movie is actually really well known for its how do I say this nicely? It's bloopers.
Okay.
So because they didn't have a lot of money, they couldn't do reshoots and things like this. So you hear at times they have to do like there's voiceovers, but the actors aren't actually moving their mouths. So in many there's cases where you're like the actor's just sitting there but you hear the actor talking, which I thought was hilarious. At any rate, it's just it's an amusing. I won't go through the some of the other things, but it's just amusing to watch. I mean, to tell you the truth, there's one scene where you heard in the sort of beginning in the when she was explaining about her husband, his legs got blown off in the Vietnam War. This was during the Vietnam War, and so that's where they have to piece him back together. Well, of course, don't you know, as they're taking him off the ambulance, you see his legs and his feet.
Makes sense, because in the trailer we only saw the arm. Oh my goodness! You know
what? So I'm just, you just have to like check your brain, but it's okay because it's amazing. I mean, it's worth every cent of it. So at any rate, Blackula and Blackenstein, that combination, I wish they would do a release with all of these together, because that would just be a fantastic collection to have. All the remakes of the classic movies that they redid in black exploitation would have been a fantastic series to own.
Hey, don't come out, maybe Jordan Peele will get a handle on that and start, you never know.
Yeah, well, we've had Spike Lee actually remake some of these movies too. Actually,
nice.
Really?
We'll be talking about that in a second. In fact, the next one that we're talking about is a really good one.
Okay.
And let's go to the trailer,
all
because
right.
this is one I want to spend a little more time on.
Okay, hold on.
While Leslie's working on that, I want to say hi to Mia and congratulations. I think we all saw what happened. Somebody got married. Good job.
Yes, Mia got married. Congratulations, Mia.
Someone
Mia
put a
found
ring on
her a
it.
good man. Yep, she sure did.
Congratulations, Mia.
Congrats.
Yeah, congratulations, Mia. All right, so let's go ahead and show this.
I'm really looking forward to this new Candyman, though. But I'll save that for later.
We'll have to talk about that later. Well, we'll talk about that in the 90s. We might have to have you come back when we talk about films in the 90s.
Please.
Yes.
Okay, so here we go. Let's watch this one.
We did a special on Candyman, the original.
Wait a minute, is this one what I think it is?
This is Ganja and Hess.
Yes. Okay, here we go.
The only perversion thoroughly condemned are the perversions of others. I will persist and survive without God's or society's sanction. I will not be tortured. I will not be punished. I will not be guilty.
He's not a criminal. He's a victim.
All right. So, Ganja and Hess. Now, you probably find, I look at this and I'm like, what is this about? This is a bunch of people running in a field. What is this about? Well, it's actually the brainchild of, you saw the film was produced by a gentleman by the name of Bill Gunn. It's his vision. And it was never intended to be a blaxploitation movie. It was originally created as an independent horror movie. And only when they couldn't sell, they couldn't get enough people to go see the movie as an independent horror movie, did they re-edit this movie to become a blaxploitation movie and take advantage of sort of all of the elements. They put together all of the elements that would make this into a blaxploitation movie, but it's not really one. And what's so interesting about this movie is that it didn't do well with audiences in the U.S. So Bill Gunn took a copy of it and he sent it to the Cannes Film Festival in France, and it ended up getting all sorts of awards at the Cannes Film Festival in France with the original cut, and it became very, very popular in France. So it was, honestly, this film was cut and re-released under no less than 5 different names.
Really?
To try and get their money back in the US, to try and take advantage of audiences, to try and sell this as a blaxploitation movie, but it's not. It's an independent horror movie. And what's fascinating about it is that, of course, what's ganja, right? Weed. So it was made, called Ganja and Hess, is of course a reference to marijuana, and it's about an allegory for a disappointing life and the consolation that marijuana brings you. So the other things that are very interesting in this particular movie is, did you notice the guy that played Hess in this?
Yes, I did.
Does he look familiar to you?
So, yes, he did. He is from Night of the Living Dead.
Yes.
And we were thinking, I have not seen him in anything else because he's so well known for Night of the Living Dead.
Right.
But he did this. Now, did he do this before Night of the Living Dead, or did he do it after?
He did it after Night of the Living Dead.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
So this was sort of an incredible This is the story of really the director, this Bill Gunn character, who came up with this vision. He brought in these fantastic actors to deliver this vision, and they did. But it didn't do commercial. It didn't sell as a commercial movie here. So it was re-edited and released.
Mm.
Now the original version that was sent to France, which was the original edit, has since been given back to the I think the New York Film Society, and they have preserved it. So there is actually a version of the original. It's kind of grainy because it was the only version left, and it was just played over and over again.
Gotcha.
But there is an actual original version available for people to see.
Do you know what is the premise of this? Because it looks so strange and it looks so abstract. What is the premise of this movie?
So it's about an archaeologist who's overseeing an excavation, and he's stabbed by his research assistant, and then commits suicide. And then when he wakes up, he finds that his wounds have healed, and he now has an insatiable thirst for blood. So when he was stabbed by his research assistant, he was stabbed by something from the excavation.
Oh.
And so the knife that he was stabbed with carried some ancient germ, which made him sort of have this insatiable thirst. So soon after, he meets his former assistant's wife, Ganja. Through Ganja, though Ganja is initially concerned about her missing husband, she soon falls for Hess. Though they are happily together, Ganja will eventually learn the truth about Hess and about her husband. And, and then it goes on to figure out if the relationship can overcome that.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's pretty deep. That's pretty deep.
But there's all sorts of different layers going on here. Also, something that you find very like common themes that we find in blaxploitation, which I love, and it's very apparent in this, is that you have Black characters that are doctors, successful.
Yes.
Yes.
This is this particular character of Hess was a doctor who spoke French. He was rich. And these sort of images were never really seen at the time of this movie was created. You would not see these successful portrayals of Black people previous to this. So that became something that was very unique to this genre, and made target audiences or Black audiences really love this because they've never seen something like this before.
Yeah, seeing us depicted in a real way.
Exactly. And in a successful way, and not as a victim or as a someone who is empowered, successful, doesn't need anybody.
I think another term I would like to throw in is relatable too, because you look at some of the fashions of these movies too. Yeah, they look nice, but it's something you would aspire to or something you would wear. Like I was looking at his robe, right? Or something that looked something close to the robe where he's with the young lady. And I was like, that's a dope robe. I would rock that now. And that kind of brought me back to some of the other fashions I saw. And I was like, I don't know if I would necessarily go back and wear that, but I can understand people in that day and age would definitely rock that. Even down to the hairstyle. Like my great-grandfather and my grandfather rocked those hairstyles. I know for a fact. I have pictures, okay? And they got my dad to an extent, which if you want to laugh, will get you. But look at that. That looks like a hard-working man,
totally.
On the bed.
But very typical of the clothing that was worn back in the 70s, but very nice, very nicely, well fitted. He looks definitely relatable. Exactly what you said. Relatable. Like that looks like the images of my dad and my stepdad and all the men that were in my life dressed like that.
Yeah. And once again, you also have in this particular movie, you have most of the production behind the film were also Black American as well. So that was actually worth noting. Actually, Spike Lee remade this film in 2014, and it's called The Sweet Blood of Jesus.
Oh,
Really?
Yes.
wow.
So it wasn't
The
loved
same
by
premise.
people.
The same premise.
I haven't seen it, so I can't answer that, but I'm assuming it's a remake of this movie. That's how he pitched it. So, so shall we move on to the next one?
Let's move on to our next one.
All right.
Here, I'm gonna amp up the video.
I'm putting myself on mute. You don't have to mute me.
All right.
I think we answered while Leslie's doing. I think we answered it, but just to make sure, Mia, these are older films we're going over. Some of them have been remade, as Eddie has said just right there. So we'll definitely make sure to tell you when they are being remade and in an older style, or it's been brought to a modern style. I think Leslie's ready now. I'm going to shut up.
No, I'm good. Let's go.
Blood is red. Voodoo is blue. Sugar is sweet. Revenge is sweeter.
I'm passing sentence.
Meet Sugar Hill.
No, please.
Not a place, but a brand new face.
My friends call me Sugar.
The foxiest,
Looking for anything special?
sexiest, deadliest chick in town. The mob took Sugar's man away. And now she's gonna make them pay.
I want them dead.
With a voodoo priestess called Mama Matrace.
I know what you can do. The power you possess.
How strong is your hate?
And Baron Samdi, too.
My particular special. A drink that I'm famous for. The zombie.
This is my domain, a kingdom of the dead.
And an army of undead behind her.
Each death has had something to do with voodoo ritual.
There's nothing that Sugar can't do.
Use it.
The mob has never seen anything like Sugar Hill and her zombie hitmen.
Sugar Hill, don't mess with her.
Yes. No.
Don't mess with her. She looks good. She looks good. I just gotta say.
I remember seeing this also at the drive-in theater, and I remember when they remade Sugar Hill in the 90s as a movie, and I was thinking it was this movie. I was like, "Oh, Sugar Hill, they're remaking it," and it was definitely something else about Sugar Hill up in Brooklyn, or was that Brooklyn? It's in Brooklyn. So this movie, because she was so beautiful at the time, we did not have very many gorgeous Black women represented on film. And so she was one of them. We had a lot of action women too. Of course, Pam Grier, Tamla Dobson, who played Cleopatra Jones. All of these women, seeing these women who kicked butt, did karate and fought, shot guns and stuff like that. This was huge for us. This was huge for as a representation for a Black girl like me growing up in the 70s to actually see this on film was amazing to me. So this film was a life changer for me. And I also see that American International did this film as well.
They did. They did many of these films, right? So they find, we're doing this sequentially. So later in the 70s, they're starting to get figure out what their audience wants, produce the movies that their audience wants to see. They're perfecting the blaxploitation movie. They're figuring out sort of the right mix of empowerment and horror, and you see that come to full fruition here. Now we see zombies, of course, in this, which is the first time we've seen zombies since Romero's Night of the Living Dead, and so it's very much harkening back to Night of the Living Dead. But as you can also see, It does have a link to Africa. It does have a link to
Haiti.
Haiti.
It's a Haitian voodoo priest, yeah.
Voodoo, right? So there's all sorts of different flavors that combine within the culture naturally as people integrate, especially in the U.S. That you're seeing in these being represented in these movies.
That looks like a dope.
I
movie,
want you all
honestly.
to recognize something. Do you know the lady that played? It is a dope movie. The lady that played the voodoo priestess. Do you all remember who that lady is? Where have you seen her before? When she was older.
Do you want me to answer this or?
No, I will tell you.
Okay.
She was the grandmother of the
Mayhem.
Huxtables.
She was.
Get out of here.
She was the grandmother of the Huxtables. Yes.
No way.
Yes. Remember that old spicy lady that used to be Cliff's grandmother? That's her. That's her.
And you also have Zara Cully, who played Mama Jefferson in the Jeffersons. You have Charles Robinson, known for his role as Mac Robinson in Night Court.
Oh snap!
So you have this is when you're really starting to get there's people recognizing that this is a really good genre to be part of, and you're getting really talented people playing these roles.
Wow, that was amazing. Thank you for that.
Is Les still with us? She's very still.
Les is working on her her upcoming project, which is right now Les in Horror, but we call it Horror Les. And she took a picture and she left it for us. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now the Eddie and Mayhem show.
That's right. So forget all this stuff. Let's talk about something else. I'm just kidding.
You know what? As we wait for Les to come back, Eddie.
Yeah.
I know you spent a whole week looking up blaxploitation films.
Sure.
What was like the biggest takeaway for you? Like, what was something that like just blew your mind?
Well, that's a great question.
Oh, thank you.
So many of these movies.
That was so strange. That was so strange.
We're having some internet issues. Okay. There you are. You're back. That was so strange. We heard that was so strange. Can you hear me?
We're back. We've got Leslie on cue. Leslie, can you hear us?
She doesn't look like she can hear it.
I don't think she can hear us.
So I'll try to answer your question.
Okay.
First of all,
I'm going to leave and come back because that just is very strange.
Okay.
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 Bye. So, all right. Now we all need to pitch in and get Leslie the next level of broadband connection.
Either that or you know what? When they do the Jetsons live adaptation, she needs to play Rosie. Okay. She's gonna kill me for that, but I love it.
I would love to do the Jetsons. Oh my god,
that would be awesome, right?
That would be amazing. So my favorite thing is really the passion of every filmmaker.
Okay,
because they didn't have a lot of money.
Yes,
they didn't have a huge budget.
Yes,
they didn't have. It wasn't like these movies that you see that come out that feel the same.
Yeah.
You actually have very unique stories. You have stories that you've never seen before. Even though they're exploitation films, they come from a completely different culture, a completely different take on these things. It's made for a different audience. It's actually, it opens your eyes to a much broader spectrum of what film could be.
Yes.
Than what you're just used to consuming because it's fed to you by the major markets. So for me, it was about discovering new talent. Okay. It was about making sure that for me as a white man, that I understand the importance of some of these movies for people that don't look like me. So it was a real education for me.
I'm glad to hear that, because for me growing up, one of the first blaxploitation films I saw, which is actually comedy, was a film called I'm Gonna Get You Sucker, right? Great film. If you ever want to laugh, like Just watch it. If you don't laugh, I will pay you whatever you paid to rent it. Like,
I've seen. I'm gonna get you second.
Okay,
I have seen that.
Okay, and once I was contacted to talk about this, and I didn't really think about that. And it's funny because like on my other show, I have Vonna the Sage, who's like a very big cinema.
Hey,
I forgot the name that she's cinephile. Excuse me. Yeah, we can't see you, but we can hear you.
You look like you're in a very dark room right now with the lights off.
Are you and the ghost having a moment? Do you want us to come back? Okay. I think she's back. Hey, can you hear us?
So we're going to be starting a GoFundMe page for Leslie to get a new internet provider.
I am ready to put $5 on it. Okay.
I will put 10. I will put $10.
Okay. I'll match your $10.
$15.
I'll match it.
$20. $20.
So as she gets that going, so with horror, like I said, I remember watching certain films because my dad had it, and I knew they were of importance because the kind of person my dad was. So when he had Blackula, it took me a while, but I was like, wow, he had this. Now he also had that porn Blackula, and I was like, oh wow, that But I knew it was important. And what I loved about it is a reminder of how important culture is, and in a sense, we're talking about Black people, African-American, West Indians, all that great, how much our culture was, because here it is. I'm pretty sure they were shut down by big movie execs and they still made it happen. And then because of that, they were able to make more money and go further on with other series because it wasn't just us supporting it. It was other people who were interested in our culture and our comedy. And then we loved it because it's so relatable,
Right. And it created a whole audience. It brought together specific audience, and this is really the first time that we're seeing movies put together for the specific audience, and that has continued to this day.
Right.
I mean, that has never stopped, especially horror movies. There's something between sort of the Black experience and going to horror movies together, which is amazing. See, I would have to think about it now, but Hash brought up a really good movie like Vampire Brooklyn with Eddie Murphy. Like I can't highlight it right now. That was a really good one too. That's probably like one of the more modern ones where it's like, I believe it was pretty much all Black cast. There may have been one or two white actors or actors of a different color, but I can't remember if that's true. But like that's a very big one and modern one. And obviously Black Panther, but that's not horror. So these movies are very dear to us. Even if we liked it or not, they're still classics. They're not just cult classics. Yeah, I watched Black Panther just yesterday, by the way.
Oh, man, we geek out on that. I have that movie, okay? They're coming out with a series, right? And then they're coming out with Black Panther. Let me tell you something, Ryan Coogler. I need to be your friend. And I need to be your friend that would pay for everything you do because right now you are making gold.
You're my best friend.
Facts. We're besties. And then Jordan Peele, if I'm not mistaken, is doing Candyman. And I know you guys did a whole special on it and you probably talked about it. I'm just gonna say my piece. When Candyman was on video, my dad rented all 3 videos. He rented both Candyman 1 and 2. He made me watch it with him. And I say he made me do it because he told me about it. He was like, you can watch it if you want. And kids are like, okay, curiosity. And I was scared after the second movie. And he's like, I'm going to get the third one, but I'm going to leave you home. It's like 7 p.m. in Brooklyn. I'm like, I'm going with you. And then we watched the third one. Great movie. The only horror that really scared me for like weeks to come. And you mean to tell me they're doing a remake of it? Well, it looks like a continuation, honestly. And it looks amazing.
It is. It's a continuation.
The only thing I can only hope for now is that they have the original actor for Candyman. I forgot his name, and I'm so sorry. If they have him premiere in that movie, my mind will blow. Like my mind will just, and I'm going to buy it. I'm going to buy it on it.
They do have the original actor playing Candyman.
Okay.
And we actually have reached out to him to see if we can get him on this show.
Yes, please do. I want to be there just to hear. I don't want to say anything. I don't want to talk. Oh my God. Yes. Totally. Oh, okay. So Leslie will be back. And yes, Candyman definitely scared the crap out of a lot of us. And speaking of Jordan Peele, shout out to him for Get Out, which I thought was dope. And even Us, which is multi-layered, and a lot of people have taken a lot of different things from it. Like he's raising the bar for horror, which is kind of like what we need.
Ma, didn't he do Ma as well?
Oh, yes.
He did Ma as well.
Yeah. So
he's really become this incredible voice within cinema right now.
Right.
And he's bringing so many wonderful layers to what can be a played out genre. He's sort of re-exploring it, and he's bringing in the Black experience, and he's layering in what the sort of things that the racism and the
fear,
the cultural differences and the socioeconomic problems that people have to deal with, and he's layering that into the horror genre, which is so amazing, and he does it in such a entertaining way. I love it.
I don't remember if Snoop Dogg was in the third Candyman. I know he was in a movie called Bones, which was a cult classic, which I don't know if we'll ever get to. Peele, I agree. Peele is a genius. He plays upon our fears as humans, where I think the scariest movie I've seen before, like Us and Get Out, might have been the remake of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, because of how realistic it felt like something like this can happen. And it's not that a chainsaw wielding maniac can easily run up on you. It's you getting stuck in a countryside of some state, and these weirdos control it. They're in power. And for somebody like me, who's a person of color, you kind of lose any kind of power that you may have had if you weren't necessarily, I'll say, white, and it's like, it's very scary, So before, obviously, Mr. Peele came on, that was like, for me personally, one of the most scary things because of how relatable that is. And a lot of horror movies after a while started just getting gory and whatnot. And it's just like, come on, cheap jump scares.
Yeah, exactly. You have the opportunity to make a really great movie, but there's also a lot of pressure from the distributors because they want to make money. They got to make their money back, right? The producers, the distributors. So even though you're a director, you might not be able to get the final say in what has to happen. So let's move on to something else while we're waiting, and we'll try and get back to it. Have you ever heard of a movie called Abby?
Abby? No. Tell me about Abby.
Abby is so interesting. I actually watched this on YouTube. It's available on YouTube right now. I do recommend that people actually rent it or buy it, so you're not watching things for free.
Okay.
But Abby is about sort of this woman who's living with her pastor husband and her really religious mother, and she's a very polite Christian marriage counselor, and she has this close encounter with the supernatural. So with the archaeologist, when an archaeologist's father-in-law unleashes an ancient spirit, it now goes into her and possesses her. Wow. So it's an ancient Nigerian deity, and she becomes violent, obscene, sexually obsessed. She is unbelievable. And of course, this came out right after The Exorcist. So this is the Black Exorcist, and it is so good. It is a really good movie. I've enjoyed this thoroughly. Now, it's so interesting to think that, let's see, I see Les is back.
She's not blinking, so I don't know. She's back. She's not blinking.
Let's all just. I thought if we were all still, maybe she would go, but that didn't work. So I'm trying to work with technology.
I got you.
So, do you like The Exorcist?
Yeah, I love The Exorcist. I didn't think it was the scariest thing, which is funny because everybody got on me about that. But I was like, I'd rather watch. I don't know if you ever heard of this the movie called Damien. I was scared of that as a kid.
Damien is scary. So, are you talking about The Omen?
Yes. There you go. Oh, Damien.
Yeah, The Omen 1 and 2, so scary. And we did talk about The Omen 1 and 2 and 3 in previous episodes, actually. Okay. Three was really interesting because you were talking about with the horrific things that happened at the Capitol, we were talking about horror movies that focus on the overturning of governments.
Yes.
And Omen 3 was all about that.
Yes. Okay, so with Abby, first of all, you kind of had me at sexually obsessed because I would love to see how they explored that back then.
Believe me, it's more explicit than we often see today.
Okay, fair enough. when was this movie made? Because I feel like I need to watch this. As you said, you know, we should rent it. You're giving your personal stake on this. You're saying like I should go to hood release and watch it.
Oh, you should definitely see it.
Okay.
It's available on YouTube.
Okay.
Made in 1974.
Okay.
It's very interesting because it was such a, by the way, The Exorcist came out in 1974 as well. Because actually 1973, I was wrong. So this came out the year after, and Warner Brothers actually sued and put a stop to this movie being publicly consumed because it was so clearly taking off on The Exorcist and inspired by The Exorcist. So this wasn't seen for 4 whole years.
Wow.
It was first seen. So it was, even though it was created in 1974, it wasn't seen until a long time after that. So let me just tell you a couple things. So it's kind of interesting that that when they were making this movie, they actually had, oh, there she's back, and she's moving.
She's blinking.
Okay, so strangely enough, there must have been some kind of an outage here that knocked out everything. So sorry about that, you all. I do have the movie queued up because I believe that we are talking about one of my favorite films, which is Abby.
Yes.
Abby. This is my favorite. I love it.
I really love this film. It has always been one of my favorite films. And you're right, Hash. Hash puts up there that I have Ghost.
Con Ed Ghost.
Yeah, Con Ed Ghost.
Don't we all?
Verizon Ghosts.
There we go.
Ghost in the Hood. That's what it is.
Blackula is biting into that fiber optic.
It's a pleasure to have you back. And it's also great to know that you are a supernatural build fighter. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
We need you on the team.
I'm so done. I'm so done with this, that this happened. A lot of times, I guess because we have a low temperature, the weather is very cold out there. I'm not sure what's going on, especially in this neighborhood. So it might have been that, but it's a lesson for me. The lesson is that now I will be plugging in directly to my router. That's what I'll be doing.
Very good lesson learned. For good lesson.
Yeah, very good lesson to learn.
About continuous improvements.
I have a shirt for you, Les. I made it for my friend in California. I'm going to extend it to you. It's yellow and it has the words growth on it. And growth is spelled GROWFF. I think you're going to like it. I think you're going to love it. Growth.
You know, listen, a lot of people in St. Louis say that word. I just want you to know. Anyway, so let's go ahead and let's look at the footage of Abby,
Definitely.
the footage of Abby. And I recommended this to Augie, Eddie Augie, because I said this you have to feature these last 2 films. You definitely have to feature them.
This was my favorite. I gotta say. I mean, I'm being completely honest.
Let's put this on then.
This was Abby. This was Abby. A woman loved and in love until that night when something evil came looking for a soul to possess.
I can't stop thinking about your husband.
That creep, forget him. Was this Abby? Now the fun starts.
Grab her! Hold her! Hear me, demon. Leave this woman's body!
Abby, rated R.
Okay, 2 things. So is that pastor from Blackula? Because okay, so he looks very much, they look the same. That's why I asked, because okay. And then Abby looked great. Abby looked toned. Abby looked stylish. Abby looked beautiful. And it's funny because she's beautiful, but the tone just seems so demonic. And it's just like, I need to add this onto my whole thing. I need to watch this. Thank you for this.
You will not be disappointed with this movie. I can't hear you, Les. I think you're on mute. But that particular actress, by the way, was not supposed to play that part. There was another Abby, another actress that landed the role, but she demanded a masseuse on the film, right? She demanded she have a masseuse throughout the film, and they could not afford a masseuse. They had no budget for a masseuse,
right?
And so she was let go. And then her name is Carol Speed, and her agent recommended her to the director, and she flew down to Louisville, which is where they filmed it, Louisville, Kentucky. And she met the director for the first time on the set. Like, she just was thrown into it, and she did it. And now you see her, and you just can't imagine a movie without her in it. But that was an interesting way that she was able to get there.
Has she gone on? Did she ever do anything else after this? Because I don't remember her doing anything else after this.
I didn't look that up, but look at those crazy eyebrows. I was very impressed.
Yes.
The use of crazy
she got the look going on.
The crazy
I feel better
eyebrow.
about my eyebrows now.
They're lovely. They're lovely.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I've never seen.
They're not Abby lovely, but they're all.
Not as voluptuous. Wait, what's that word?
What's the word?
Zoptic. Zoptic as Abby's eyebrows.
Zoptic, yes.
So, kind of interesting things went on during the making of this movie.
Okay.
So, the production was temporarily halted when a series of tornadoes ripped through Louisville, and now it was being produced in August of 1974.
Wait. I'm sorry. She-Hulk.
Yes, exactly. You wouldn't like me when I'm Abby.
Oh gosh.
Look at those. Still with the eyebrows. It's so exciting.
Oh my gosh. They even had green contact lenses in for her. This is really awesome.
Yes.
Awesome.
When she would appear on the set dressed as the demon, the generators on the set would always fail.
Wow.
Whenever she was dressed as what you just saw, as the demon in Abby. So interesting. So at any rate, there were actors that broke ribs on the film. There were all kinds of, the film was just plagued with problems. However, it was an incredibly successful movie. Eventually, when it finally got to be seen after 4 years of Warner Media or Warner Brothers putting a stop on it after comparing it to The Exorcist. Wait! They did
what?
So this movie was taken out of circulation for years, 4 years after Warner Brothers sued American International, claiming it was a ripoff of The Exorcist.
Did they now?
Yes. So
they just go ahead.
The film was very profitable, but the director and producer, by the way, it was director, producer, same person, William Girdler, he never saw a penny of it because of the lawsuit.
Jeez.
Oh, wow. That's terrible.
So, it was settled right before he died in 1978. So that's sort of the sad part, but the movie is so good. If you like exorcism type of movies, this is it's really well acted. It's not ridiculous. Like this trailer actually, I don't think does it justice.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of really wonderful nuanced acting going on here. And the best part is that there's, similar to The Exorcist, there's a male voice that does the voiceover for Abby when she's possessed.
Wow.
The best part of this movie, because if you hear, the actress Carol Speed's voice, you're kind of like, But when another voice comes out of that face and it is scary, it takes this movie to just another level.
I do recall this movie being one of the scariest movies that people were going out to watch. And a lot of times my mother would take us to go see scary movies, but she would not let us go see this movie. She would not. She's
also, go ahead.
Oh no, she was like, it's just too much for you all. So no. Yeah.
This is also pretty explicit when it comes to some of the sexual scenes.
Yeah. So I can understand why. You know what it is too. See, I'm of West Indian background, so there's spirituality certain times. And right when he said there was too many problems with the generator, I was like, sage that whole set.
Yeah.
Sage it.
Right.
So if you're going into a movie theater with young children, children old enough to at least watch the film. You know what? There's too many problems, and you don't want too much influences on it. I could definitely see her as putting a stop to like, you watch this when you're adults.
Yeah,
when you're out of my house, come back with some.
Right. I think it was more the sexual content than the fact that it was possession. It was the sexual content in it, because my mother allowed me to watch a lot of things. But I think that I was maybe way too young for this particular type of film.
Yeah, it's very sexual at times. So I'm sorry you couldn't join us for the beginning of that, but we have one final movie we want to talk about. And shall we try to do the trailer?
Let's do the trailer.
Okay.
This is one of my all-time favorites, I must add.
Is it Candyman? Candyman?
No, because Candyman was not made until the 90s. This is 1970s.
I'm being a jerk. I apologize.
No. But you might, I don't know. It's good.
This
Here
is
we go.
1976.
Going guy with a good-looking woman, but something awful's gonna happen. There's big trouble coming. It's JD's revenge.
Listen, man, ain't nothing wrong with my soul.
There was a real mean killing, and the wrong guy died. They buried his body, but his soul survived. For JD's revenge.
Lately, I've been getting these headaches, I've never felt this lost before in my life.
You beat me up. Ike,
I don't remember doing any of those things. Maybe something is happening to me.
The reincarnation of a killer who came back from the dead to possess a man's soul, make love to his woman, and get the vengeance he craves.
I'm flipping out.
He's my baby sister, Betty Joe. You my baby sister, Betty Joe. They are my enemies.
They're my enemies.
One weird nigga.
I'm cracking up, man. I blacked out.
Glenn Turman, the star of Cooley High.
What in the world have you done to yourself?
I ain't seen a get up like that in 25 years.
Yeah.
Joan Pringle.
My business is with Theotis.
Lou Gossett.
There is no danger, Theotis.
This nigga's crazy.
I'm the craziest nigga you ever gonna meet. Yeah.
He wasn't himself.
Don't nobody talk to me like that.
He turned into this monster, a whole other person.
Scared of your daddy.
There is something wrong with Ike. Tonight he kept saying he was this J.D. Walker.
J.D. Walker's been dead for over 30 years.
It's J.D. Walker.
What the hell do you mean J.D. Walker is back? This boy is possessed by the spirit of J.D. Walker.
So you're a jackleg preacher now, huh, Elijah?
J.D.'s voice
Where's that good for nothing brother of yours?
and his manner.
I got to go to settle with him.
You were possessed.
Theotis killed Betty Joe.
40 years later, on someone else's face, you can see J.D. Walker's hatred time just won't erase. J.D.'s revenge.
I'll have my revenge.
And
Okay.
What do you think of that cast?
That was amazing. That is probably that trailer was everything. So they had the face of JD Walker in the background showing up in the mirror. That's amazing. You have an actor playing somebody who's playing somebody else, and it's believable. It doesn't look like he's oh my God, that was amazing. I thought the cast was brilliant. They seem to flow together. They definitely highlight a time, you know, the 70s, in which everybody was supposedly wearing different colors, but clothes. But then he has a whole different hairstyle and a whole different swag to him. Like, it's so amazing. And then I'm looking at, honestly, I want to know, how did he die? Like, I know he died for the wrong thing, but what happened? And then I want to know what the result of the conflict is.
So
I'm sorry.
The conflict.
That was an amazing trailer.
Yes. So the story is very good, and this is one of my favorite all-time horror films. It's got an amazing cast, and this was the pinnacle of Black actors in the day. And so, you know, Glenn Thurman. I know a lot of us saw him on. He used to be on. Oh my goodness, the show that was the spinoff of the Cosbys, where he was a teacher at the college.
Yes. Oh, right.
Yeah.
I know that one.
A
Wonderful. No.
A Different Life.
A different life. Different world.
A different world. He was on A Different World. So, but he also used to be married to Aretha Franklin, by the way.
What?
Yes, he used to be married to Aretha Franklin.
Really?
But it is amazing. If you look at this, look at how the possessor is behind the possessed. It's such a really good. I mean, the way that they thought about it with this little bit of budget that they had, this is amazing. Amazing how they did this.
This is available. Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say that conked hair. That is killing me. That conked hair. He had that hair on. Oh my gosh, that was a big thing back in the days when men were conking their hair and putting relaxer in their hair. So yes, very well done.
Well, that's it. You know, he's possessed by someone from the 1940s. So the actual incident that causes a revenge, the need for a revenge, happened in the 1940s. And so this is the character, the person being possessed by the guy from the 40s in the 70s.
Right.
And so now he's dressing like the 40s when everybody else is dressed like the 70s.
That's why that lady said she hasn't seen that type of getup in 25 years. And I was like, I see it. I see what you're saying.
Yeah. But his transformation was really, really good. Enough so that this film terrified me when I saw it as a young girl. This film terrified me.
It only really speaks to the incredible ability of this actor, Glenn Turman, to actually play the full spectrum of different types of characters and every single emotion. It was really a fantastic study in really great acting to watch him do this. And Louis Gossett, before he was a junior, I guess, Louis Gossett was also amazing. He's, you know, criminally underrated, I think, Louis Gossett Jr.
Right.
But he was incredible in this. This is one of the reasons for the revenge that you see an image for right here.
Right.
So he was killed. He was killed.
Mm-hmm.
He was a gangster and he was killed, and he's coming back for revenge. And that's literally what is happening there.
Yes, and once again, you get to see Black characters that are doctors. They are, you know, professional, successful people as secondary characters in this movie. But you're once again getting this vision that has never been popularized by mainstream film within the Blaxploitation movies. Also, what's kind of interesting is the death scene. Do you remember Death Proof that came out in 2007?
What? Okay, is that the one with the car? No, not that's the one with Kurt.
The one with the car.
Russell? Yes,
it's the one with the car and Kurt Russell.
Yes,
that's
right.
So that scene where there's a death involved with someone who doesn't have a seatbelt on was inspired by this movie.
Wow.
This movie was actually the one that created that scenario first.
It doesn't surprise me that Quentin Tarantino would take from this particular film because it was so iconic within the Black community for what it was. And it was a tour de force for Glenn Thurman as far as the characterization of the film. Mm-hmm. But I love this film. This
is his doctor, by the way, who I might add recommends that his patients smoke weed to overcome. I just thought that was hilarious. That He started doing meditation and smoking weed. That was his prescription to the sky. Which
Well, not much has changed today, I see.
I thought that was great.
Wow, that's crazy. I thought, it's funny, totally sidebar. I thought Death Proof was kind of inspired by an old, I think, 80s film where the guy was killed and he came back as a ghost with his car and he raced everybody and he had everybody crash into him that killed him. And I thought, oh, this is, I can't remember the name of it. I thought that's what Death Proof was from. But this is amazing. You guys have literally blown my mind for the night. Like, I have a whole list. I have a whole list to watch.
Oh,
yes. You have to come back and let us know what you think about these films.
Yes, and this is just the beginning. There are many other wonderful, I mean, there's blaxploitation and then there's blaxploitation horror, right? So we could have talked about Pam Grier and that whole world, but we just decided to zero in on this particular sub-genre.
Thank you, Sensei. Thank you.
He is the authority on the films. Go ahead. Very good. Very good.
Thank you.
Very good.
Thank you. Thanks for going down that journey with me.
Oh, I'm loving it. I can't wait till the 90s film.
Oh, that's next
my favorite. Ooh, yes. Maybe you might come back and kind of join all of us when we talk about the 90s films.
I hope so, because I was able to with Eddie's help, I was able to kind of keep the show going, talking about everything. We lost a very valued member, Leslie, while she was dealing with some ghosts. So
we did.
Hopefully,
She was able to exorcise those ghosts very quickly, though. Thank goodness.
Yes, I kicked ass and told him to get the hell out. That's what
she got
I did.
the sage and just took care of it.
Yes. Oh man, that was just too creepy. But this is not the first time that this has happened. This has happened before. Something weird like this has happened.
Okay,
I think it's
probably
Abby.
been talking about this.
I think it's talking about Abby.
Oh gosh.
Yes.
I hope not. No. I'm not bringing that in here. Nope.
I have exorcised the demon.
Yes. Get out. Well, anyway, we are going to have to wrap up.
Okay.
This evening. This has been quite enjoyable. Thank you so much, Mayhem, for coming in. And
thank you for having me.
We really loved you. We love your energy,
totally.
And maybe we will have you come back. I mean, this man is like he is Mr. Streaming man. Doing his own show, everything. Tell us a little bit about the Last Stop on the L, when it shows. Just a little quick clipper before we end tonight.
I always have a hard time describing my show because it's always two West Indians and another gentleman who has like the vocabulary of I don't even know, a diplomat, and a woman who's passionate about everything. And like we talk about everything that goes on. We actually took a break for a while because of just different things in our life and what was going on in office. But we talk about politics. We talk about pop culture. We talk about what's in the movies, what's going on in our personal feelings. We talked about hair. Like people love when we talk about why men view hair so differently. And it's such a great show because of who we are and what we've experienced. We call it the Last Stop on the L being the L train, which is probably like the worst train in New York City, only not because of its service, but because of its destinations and whatnot. It's a really great show. Check us out. We're a podcast one everywhere that you get your podcasts at. Very intellectual. One of the things that we always get is not only do people laugh, but they always learn something. And I'm always happy to be a part of that movement. So definitely check us out. Last Stop on the L podcast.
Okay. All right.
Awesome.
Thank you. And just a little bit about the Tingling Tea. We are moving to Thursday nights in March. Yes, we are.
Yay.
We're moving to a new, bigger haunted house.
That's amazing.
More spacious.
Yeah, more spacious, more windows that are bust out.
Yes.
Yeah, all of that. More ghosts. So yes, we are moving Thursday nights. We are taking it to Thursday nights, but that will be in March. Our first show being March the 4th, right? March the 4th.
That's right.
Okay. So thank you once again, Mayhem. Maybe we'll see you next week. It'd be really good if we can have you come in. I think we're going to actually talk about when Annabelle comes back. She's going to have a second part of her playing Alien Isolation. So since you are a gamer, you and I are both gamers.
Annabelle, hear me. I love that game. Alien Isolation is a great horror game. And for anybody, I am a big fan of aliens. I'm going to shut up now because my producer's telling me to shut up right now. Okay, I got you. But Alien Isolation is a great classic game. You better represent, Annabelle. You better represent.
Well, Annabelle will be back with some more footage of that. So it'd be nice if we could have you come back and kind of talk a little bit about that. Okay. And then we'll continue our 90s films, since this is something that is really up your alley, since you love horror, especially horror in the 90s. So with that, you all, we will be back here next Friday at 8 o'clock Central, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, 7 o'clock Central Standard Time, and 5 o'clock Pacific Time. Have a wonderful, wonderful 3-day weekend, because it is President's Day. Oh, yeah. And for all of you all who like Valentine's Day, happy Valentine's Day to you. And we just want to wish you a good night. Love you all. Thanks for sticking up with us this evening. And we will see you next week. Take care.
Bye.